In Unity, I'm getting around 160 FPS with 14 characters, which is very good considering I will be adding many other mechanics and logic and art to the game. So there is still room in performance to add more things. And of course it's can be more optimized. Skeletal animations are always expensive to deal with, but it is a decent start. I want to test Godot and Unreal for their performance with exactly 14 characters and see how the FPS is comparing to Unity. And it is a chance to see the workflow in each one of them. It will be a very small benchmark where I will place the characters in a scene with a run animation and test the performance. I started with creating a project in Godot and it was very fast. The project was ready in a matter of seconds. And to be honest, I like the interface of Godot, so clean and simple, especially if you will use GDScript. You really don't need to leave the engine. But GDScript is simply not for me, much like Blueprint in Unreal. I don't see myself using any of them for many preference reasons. Anyway, moving on, I also created the projects in Unreal. And
A few moments later.
oh my god, finally. So let's create the project.
6.5 hours later.
Now, I'm not sure what the definition of an empty project for Unreal is, but this is definitely not empty for me. Now, that is empty. Then I made a simple ground with a texture in Unreal and Godot using a cube. And it was very straightforward and easy in both of them. But I prefer Unreal a bit more because I am really not a fan of the file system of Godot. It is too simple and lacking a lot of features. I prefer the content browser of Unreal way more, to be honest. Also, I changed some settings and I tried to reduce the render quality as much as possible to make the test a bit fair for Unreal, because Unreal by default enables many high quality features which you might not need in the first place. Back to Godot, I want to import the FBX of my character, but it seems that Godot does not support FBX natively and needs a third-party binary called fbx.gltf. After I had located the binary, Godot started to import the FBX, and it was so slow. It took nearly a minute to import. I added the character in the scene, and for some reasons I could not select the character from the viewport. It seems that I had to click inside this yellow box to select the character, but I did not find any way to modify it or scale it. And to be honest, that was very frustrating to not be able to select the character by the mouse picking. I added another character, which by the way took ages to import this time. And the same issue, the box is either very small or very big. Either way, the mouse picking is not working at all, or not working properly at the least. In Unreal, things were just straightforward. The import of the FBX was so fast, and the mouse picking is working without any issues. And it felt so good to select the character from the viewport again. Yeah, you don't appreciate the smallest things until you lose them. Back in Godot, I wanted to move each character to its own folder, and it seems that Godot re-imports the character or something. Just moving things around took nearly the same time as importing them. Anyway, I imported the animation and it was fast this time. It makes sense because there is no mesh in the FBX, just the animation. But Godot does not read it as animation. You need to re-import it as animation library to use the animation for another character, and that requires the editor to restart. I did not like this workflow, to be honest. I guess it can be done better with fewer steps, especially restarting the entire editor. That was weird for me personally. Anyway, I added the animation player node and added the run animation from the FBX as animation library. But it did not work right away because both the FBX of the character and the FBX of the animation need to have the same bone map. And this also requires a re-import. After that, the animation was playing just fine in the editor, but in the game the animation did not play. It must be played from a script, so yeah, I guess I have to touch GDScript to do this one. For adding that, the animation was playing in the game perfectly, so all what we have to do now is to duplicate the character 14 times. But for some reasons, the duplicated characters did not run the animation.
Surprise, motherfucker!
After some trial and error, I fixed it and all the characters now are running the animation with new issues. And I guess that's it, that's all what we need for testing. It was supposed to be a small task, but for some reason it took me nearly a half hour to do. But it's okay, I'm learning. So back in Unreal. In Unreal, to be honest, I could do the task in 20 seconds. Just duplicate the character 14 times and we are done. I don't even need to write any code to make the animation run by default. So instead of doing it so easily, I wanted to test the animation retargeting in Unreal. Basically, I have these two characters. They look the same, but they have different bone hierarchy. So I wanted to see how I can use the animation on a different character with different skeleton. And to be honest, I loved it. You just give each chain of bones a name for each skeleton, and you tell Unreal what is the alternative for each chain of bones in the other skeleton, so it can match them and apply the animation accordingly. And it works like a charm, and there is so many tweaks and changes that you can do to make the animation fit the character perfectly. In my case, I didn't have to do much because it is the same character, just the hierarchy of the bones was different. I know Godot has also animation retargeting, but the glitches in the engine does not allow me to try anything, to be honest. Let's select this. I'm not sure if this is gonna work, but let's see. No, it does not. What the... What the hell is happening in this engine? Anyway, I duplicated the character in Unreal and everything seems to work just fine. And with that, I guess it is time to export and test the performance of each engine. Done.
One, two, 2 plus 2, 4, 4 plus 4, 8, 8 plus 8. I don't know. You don't know? You don't know? You don't know?
One eternity later.